Alrighty, so we are finally getting a decent ECU. So I've decided to bite the bullet and go to a Haltech R3 because Haltech now have support for the RX-8. It's been something that I've wanted for a long time, but yeah, RX-8s, everything's canbus, everything's a bit of a pain in the ass. So Haltech have finally introduced a canbus profile for the RX-8, which takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. So yeah, we're going to get stuck into that. Obviously, this intro was recorded after the fact. I didn't do an intro; it all just happened really quickly. I ordered it on Friday, I had it on Tuesday, and it's just been non-stop since then. So yeah, it's been about 2 weeks now, and yeah, everything's in the car, everything's working. So yeah, the reason I wanted to go to a Haltech, or at least get away from the factory ECU, once you go turbo in an RX-8, the stock ECU really can't give you enough information about what you need. Like, there is ways to do it, don't get me wrong, but I'm not a fan of chopping and changing and making things, like using Arduinos and fucking injecting stuff into CAN bus and all that kind of shit. Where the Haltech is a standalone management system, it is designed to do this. So it makes sense to do it. Takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. Has everything that you will ever need on it. So, I can keep all of the factory sensors in place. I can have launch control, traction control. The dash works. Everything works, and I've got so much information now that I can tune the car and get more power out of it and get it out of there safely. So if something does go wrong, like the oil pressure drops, oil temperature gets too high, the fuel pressure drops below 50 psi, if the fuel pump shorts out, if a coil blows, I'm going to know about it. Where on the stock ECU, you will not know about it. That's generally why you kill an engine, is because the ECU is not telling you what's happening, because it doesn't know. All it measures is if you have oil pressure or not. It doesn't measure oil temperature. It doesn't measure fuel pressure. It doesn't measure fuel temperature. You can't run E85. There's heaps of stuff that the Haltech can do that the stock ECU can't. So this is why I'm going to it. But yeah, we'll get stuck into it now, and we'll come along for the journey. It's quite a long video. I cut out about 10 hours worth of it and just kept the stuff that was important, really. I might upload a separate video with everything. If you want to see that, let me know. But warning you, even with it cut down, it was about 6 hours long. But that goes into every detail about what sensors went where, what wires went where I had to chop the loom and add additional wires, how I integrated into the car, all that kind of stuff. Where this is just the important stuff of getting it in there, getting it wired up, showing you basics of what I had to do to get it working, and then next video will be tuning. So we'll get stuck into the loom, and we'll go from there. Alright, so my first box from Haltech just arrived. We're just going to have a look and see what I got. Hopefully that means the ECU will be in today as well. Actually came quicker than I thought it would. I didn't think I'd get this until like Thursday. So we've got the LSU 4.9 or fucking Bosch, whatever, wideband adapter. Go from the wideband to the Haltech. Got the 3-port Mac valve for boost control. Got a medium shirt for the wife. Extra large shirt for me. And premium hoodie. I'm looking forward to trying that. It's fucking cold this morning. So we got a few little things. So I didn't order much from Haltech. So I ordered the ECU through Phantom Performance because I got a little bit better deal on it. But hopefully that'll be in today. All the ECU connectors and the LSU 4.9 technically should be in today because that's coming from Gold Coast. So we'll see that when that comes up. But Just gonna unbox these and try them on and make sure they fit. Alright, so I got obviously the boost control solenoid. The actual Haltech ECU won't be here today because I think it was ordered too late, and it's on back order now, so probably won't be here for a few more days, unfortunately. But I've started doing the boost control solenoid, so I've got the push lock fittings in. I think they're 1/8 fittings, and yeah, just mounted that to the back. So it comes with a mounting kit, which is pretty cool because that's going to be awesome because it's an anti-vibration kit as well. Yeah, so I'm just going to do the wires. Where's the bag? So inside the bag, it does come with all the standard barb fittings, but yeah, not using barbs this time. And a DT2 connector, so Duchess 2-pin connector. So yeah, I'm gonna do these wires, put that connector on. Of course, that's one less thing I've got to do when the Loom comes, but I'm just gonna cheat with this. So they give you a bit of wire, but I might leave most of that on there. So what I'm gonna do is just get these, make sure these are the same length, which they pretty much are, and chuck these in the drill and twist them. Get in there. Just lightly pull them and twist. Might just hold that to stop them from twisting too much. Beautiful. It's the old cheat way of doing it. And make sure that doesn't fucking wrap around like that. Obviously you can do it by hand, but whatever. And then you can just pull that, twist it. Make sure it's straight. So you don't want to put too much pressure on these because they will just rip out. So you just make sure you hold them together. Otherwise you start twisting this up, it's just going to pull these closer and fuck it all up. So I might try that again to get that a little bit tighter. Just so you can see it, it's good here, but it came apart a little bit here where it fucking bunched up. So try that again. God, that drill is fucked. The old Milwaukee brush drill. She's shagged. I've gone through 2 of these drills. The brushes keep fucking out on them, so I don't use this drill for anything apart from shit. Yep, it's good. Back it off a little bit. That's better. So that'll work. So I'm just going to put some heat shrink around this, protect it as much as possible. I don't like seeing bare wires. So, and then yeah, put the DT connector on here, and that will be done. So I'm going to find the heat shrink. So I just got another delivery. I haven't gone to get the fucking crimpers yet, but this just came. This is from EFI Hardware, I think. I only ordered this yesterday, so it's like crazy fucking quick. I think they're in the Gold Coast, so pretty damn close to me. Well, 40-minute drive away, give or take. So these are the engine connectors and crimpers and the O2 sensor. So I didn't buy the O2 sensor from Haltech because it was expensive. So I bought it through these guys. So it is just a 4.9 standard Bosch fucking O2 sensor. Some crimpers for the uninsulated ones. So hopefully that'll work out. Never had much luck with these, but we'll see. Yeah. Trial these and make sure they're right. Yeah, that should be right. See, you got some injectors laying around here. Where are they? Okay, maybe not. I'll just compare them to the standard ones and make sure that they're right, but they look right, so should be fine. I think that's the alternator. So you've got alternator. I think I was going to try that with the OMP, drive-by-wire, oil level sensor for the sump, 2 injectors, no, that might be Bosch injectors, and then there's another one, oil level for the sump, 3 pin. I think that's position for OMP. Then you have 2 injectors, engine coolant temperature, NOx sensor, and something else. So yeah, anyway, just try and see if they work. Alright, so let's have a look at the Haltech map and see if we can figure out you know, how to set this up for the RX-8. Obviously there is no base map. So you have to do all of this yourself, and it's a bit of a mix-up between the standard R3 VCU map and the RX-7 map, because yeah, they just don't do one, so we've got to figure it out. So what I've done is I have gone in to create a new, just save that, new R3 VCU, and I am using the beta firmware. I think you'll be fine using the release firmware. I switched to the beta firmware because I had Andy from Haltech give me his RX-8 map to cross-reference a few things like idle control and SSV and VDI and all that. So I just used his firmware and repinned it all. And then I went through and made a new firmware because I had too many problems. So yeah, up to you which way you want to go. I would just go release, unless you have a problem and you need to go to the beta. So first thing is obviously, you know, set it as a rotary, 1300 cc's, engine type is a rotary, 10:1 compression, and it is turbocharged, or if you're naturally aspirated, choose naturally aspirated. Trigger system set to the Mazda RX-8, and I did have to set an RPM filter of 10 milliseconds because I had some weird spiking shit going on. Don't change anything else except for the TDC angle, so make sure you come into ignition tuning, lock the timing to 5 degrees, use a timing light to come back in here and set your TDC offset angle, TDC angle, so it matches exactly on the line on the front pulley, on the harmonic balancer and the front timing cover. That is very crucial to do that first. Just remember to come back in and turn that off. I wish they really gave you a way to do it from in here where you could be like set timing, lock ignition, yes, no, whatever. But whatever. Didn't have to change anything else. I did actually change this from 20 to 25, but I don't think you need to. Fuel system, so 2 stages. Obviously this is a 4-port, not a 6-port. So if you have a 6-port, make sure you choose 3 stages, because it adds another one here. But 4 ports only have 2, and it's a sequential, and you choose your injectors here. So I'm using the secondary yellow ones in my primary ports and the Bosch 1650 cc's in the secondaries. So this is 1462 cc's because 1462 is at 43 psi, 1650 is at 58 psi. So yeah, don't get confused about that. It confused the shit out of me to begin with. Ignition coils, I am using the IGN 1A coils, so it should be on this mode. I don't know why that was not. Maybe I was playing around with it yesterday, but whatever. And you set your wiring here, so I'm using a high current output instead of just a normal relay power or whatever. I'm using the Haltech to power the coils. Now, sensors. So we're using manifold pressure from the Haltech, fuel pressure, oil temperature, air temperature, oil level, coolant temperature, coolant level, flex fuel, knock detection, holy shit, vehicle speed, wideband, and brake pedal. Now, if you're in a manual, you can obviously use clutch pedal, where the hell that is, clutch pedal switch. It depends on how much you want to integrate. So if you want the Haltech to do the vehicle starting, then yes, you can run, you're going to have clutch and brake pedal for whatever, and reverse and neutral for reverse lockout and so on. But I kept that in the stock body control. So that is literally just like a neutral safety and reverse lockout or reverse switch. So neutral lockout or whatever the hell you call it. So it only lets you start the car if you are in neutral. Doesn't care about the clutch pedal because I don't have a clutch pedal switch because I converted mine from automatic to manual. So anyway, all I did was just tie in the brake pedal switch. Didn't worry about anything else. Now fuel tuning, volumetric efficiency. I didn't turn on automatic V8 air temp compensation. We're using petrol at the moment. We're not using flex. I don't have the flex fuel sensor connected, so yeah, leave it on petrol unless you're running flex. Fuel load is estimated map. Fuel pressure is map reference, and unless you don't have a fuel pressure sensor, then just run constant. Constant would be 58 to 60 psi. Target lambda, set it up however you want. Like I said, I copied this from the RX-7 map and just modified a few cells just to smooth things out and add a bit richer and a bit leaner in some certain areas. The volumetric efficiency map, this is still a work in progress. The car is driving. I've tuned pretty much everything from about here up to here, and a little bit in here, but not much. So VE is specific to your car. Don't copy it and then expect it to work. This you can copy. This you cannot. This is going to be different on every engine. Fuel prime pulse. So most of this stuff I copied from the RX-7 map, including the map prediction. The one from Andy's map was all over the place for me and just felt terrible. So went to this one and it is so much nicer. Obviously Andy has a 6-port, I have a 4-port, so it's probably a big difference on that as well. So corrections, coolant temp, air temp, post-start corrections, they're all important. So this is all available in the RX-7 base map for the S2. Single turbo, RX-7, 13B, S2 map. So O2 control, obviously turn on long-term trims so you can actually drive and tune at the same time. Short-term trims will take care of the big fluctuations. Long-term trims just make it easier. So when you're driving around, it comes into your long-term map, and pretty much you get back home or pull over the side of the road, apply the long-term trim, and the long-term trim doesn't have to do as much work. So short-term trims will take care of 25%. If it stays more than 0.1% in the short term, the long term will take it over and stop the short term from having to deal with it. Now I'm using 80% of primaries before the stage 2 kicks in, which I'm also going to use 80% of secondaries. So stage 1 will go to 80%, and then stage 2 will get fired, and then that one will go to 80% before they both go to 100%. Firing angle, copied from RX-7, seems to work pretty good. I was running aggressive firing angle from Andy's map as well, but yeah, I had some weird fluctuations with AFRs. Like, it was all over the place. It was 14, then 15, and then down to 12, and then up to 14, and then up to 17, and down to 12 again. And I set this, and it stopped jumping around so much. I am using zero demand ignition angle. Crank ignition angle. Base timing map is this at the moment. Take this as a grain of salt. This is the base RX-7 map modified to what I was going to run. So a little bit less timing up here, or a little bit more timing, one of the two, and then interpolated down, just move it out. Now I am thinking about adding a little bit of timing down in this section here, just because it doesn't need to be in negatives. But yeah, this is smooth as hell. Like, driving around on this is very smooth. Not a lot of power, obviously. It's not tuned for that, but it works. Split angle, still working on this part, but I set it to a safe table. So do whatever you want with there. It works. Cranking, 8 degrees angle, yep, zero demand. This was a fucking pain in the ass. So zero demand ignition, I had troubles with things jumping up and down, left and right, up and down, and it just drove me nuts for like 3 days. So copied this exactly from the RX-7 map. Aircon state on and off, obviously. I had to add this, so I went into table access setup, enabled the access, set aircon state on off, and then set this. this works awesome. It idles beautifully. There is occasionally a bit of a lumpy idle where it hunts, and yeah, I might be able to come in here and tweak a little bit of this, but right now it's pretty damn stable. Engine functions, obviously throttle, fuel pump, idle control, boost control, because I do have a turbocharger on my RX-8, evap, thermofan 1 and 2, engine protection, RPM limiter and overboost cut, dual intake runner and oil metering pump. So, throttle is pretty straightforward. It's drive-by-wire, so you need to make sure this is right, using 2 half-bridge outputs and 4 AV inputs. Unfortunately, you have to use a lot of AV inputs for that, but I do have some left over. Fuel pump, I am using the high current output, not using the relay and the speed controller. Unsure if I'm going to go to a speed controller or not yet, because it works fine. It's just apparently they have a speed controller, so you can reduce the speed of the fuel pump while you're at idle and low RPMs to save power, reduce emissions, reduce heat in the fuel, because if the fuel pump's going 100% all the time, it's going to heat up the fuel the longer it's running. So yeah, anyway, it works. Choose what you want to do there. Idle control, this was a pain in the ass to set up, so I ended up having to drop this to from 10% to 8%. And yeah, these values seem to work pretty good. Target RPM, I am targeting 950 at operating, and then yeah, obviously going up since there. And this seems to work pretty well. I haven't gone to 95, 100 degrees yet, so I don't know if that's going to be a problem, but the long-term trim will come into effect here, because I've got that turned on, and apply whatever it needs to apply to get it down or up or whatever. Proportional gain, yeah, copy that. Integral gain, copy that. Derivative gain, copy that. Like, this works. And ignition correction, this does work pretty well as well. Alternator load correction, haven't had to play with it, it just works. And it's assigned to drive-by-wire. Boost controller, don't have it set up yet. Evap, haven't really tested it. Thermofan 1 and 2 is just using ignition output for both of them. And they go into the relay box on the RX-8 to trigger low and high speed relays. Engine protection is not really turned on at the moment. I had some problems with oil metering pump, and it kept coming on every 5 seconds, so I just turned it off. Well, I figured out the problem, because every time it came on, it enriched the AFRs by 0.5 AFR and completely threw out my idle map, so I just turned it off. Haven't turned it back on yet. Limiter, self-explanatory. Diesel, yeah, up to you what you want to do here. Obviously this is going to be suited to your car or whatever, so do whatever you want. Dual intake runner, this is for the VDI. And yeah, I've pretty much just got it turned on 5,000 RPM, regardless of what's going on. It's just going to turn on at 55,000 RPM to 5,500 RPM. Oil metering pump, like I said, pain in the ass, needs 4 half-bridge outputs and an input for a switch. So unfortunately there is no exact positioning for the oil metering pump. It doesn't say, hey, I'm at 20%, 40%, 60%. It's either I'm here or I'm there. There's no in between. I thought it was a TPS sensor on the front of the OMP. It is not, it's just a switch. So it's either fully open or fully closed. It just guesses in between. Engine control, relay, and alternator control, definitely need them. Obviously you can use other things, but whatever. Engine control relay, I have 2 of them. One is a high current output to power everything in the Loom, because I ran out of switched ignition, so I'm using this to power like 12 volt sensors on the Loom, and also charge the alternator and everything like that. So yeah, and the other one is going to the relay box to trigger the ECCS relay. Alternator control, this was a pain in my ass. I blew up an alternator trying to get this to work. So it needs a digital pulsed output and a 12 volt ignition source from the Haltech. Because it doesn't have a relay regulator inside the alternator, there is no way to specifically say excite the regulator. If you put a 470 ohm resistor on a 12 volt source and inject it into the alternator while the alternator is running, it will charge. But you need a DPO to regulate the charge. So there's a D and P pin on the alternator. You don't use the the P pin, it's an output to say this is how fast it's running and so on. You use the D to excite the field, the stator field, and also use a digital pulsed output in PWM at around 280 hertz, which seems to work for me, to regulate the charge voltage. Since I did that, I haven't had a problem. Transmission, yeah, manual, gear ratio, vehicle functions, aircon, traction control, battery light, check engine light, oil pressure light, and launch control. So a good thing about this is because it is CAN bus based, obviously the aircon needs to have a switch input and a AC output to trigger the relay to turn on the air compressor. Traction control is just using the ABS sensors for the front left right, rear left right tyres to work out if there's wheel slip or not. Launch control, have not tested it. Battery light uses CAN bus, check engine light uses CAN bus, oil pressure light uses CAN bus. So good. Like all you do is just go assign this CAN bus and it communicates with the car and tells the car what's going on. It is awesome. Now, one thing I am testing at the moment is the SSV on a generic output. I've been playing around with this, I've been having trouble with it. Essentially what I want it to do is open the SSV at just before the second stage of injectors start to fire, so that the SSV is open as they fire, so I don't get a pooling effect and then get a real rich spot, which has been driving me nuts. But I want it to remain closed if the secondary injectors are not firing, because if they're not firing, it doesn't need to be open. Obviously you can get more airflow and etc., but yeah, I don't need it to be open. Like you can come into here and go, okay, well, if injector duty cycle 1 is greater than 70%, then open it, because I have my stage 1 injection going to 80%, it's 10% below that. So if it hits 70%, it'll open, and then at 80%, the second stage of injectors will kick in, and yeah, that pretty much takes care of it. Now, I'm unsure if I need another condition here, so I can say, you know, go into here and go, or RPM. So, you know, I can say RPM is greater than, you know, 4,500 RPM, right? So either injector 1 duty cycle is at 70%, or the RPM is greater than 4,500 RPM, and then it will open regardless. Now, yeah, generally, if you're not using that much injectors, you don't really care too much about it, but, you know, we'll see, because we want to keep it closed as long as possible. So I might set that to 3250 just to test this. That way it opens, and yeah, I've just got it set up as an injector output, because yeah, I don't have 8 injectors, I've only got 4. Now connections, CAN bus, vehicle CAN bus, pretty straightforward. Yeah, that's all you need to do. Select Mazda RX-8 and it does the rest for you. You don't have to go in there and do anything. It literally communicates. Like, I don't think you actually can do anything. It just communicates directly with it. You don't need to do a thing. Yeah, but that is it for the setup. It's pretty straightforward. Then the rest is just up to you to tune. Yeah, you know, I might be able to leave this tune once I'm a little bit happier with it in the comment section or in the description description of this video, just to save a bit of time for people. But you know, like I said, each Haltech is going to be different for every car, so you know, take this as a grain of salt. You know, you really need to have some sort of understanding about how this works before you go putting it into your ECU and potentially blowing your car up. But yeah, we'll leave that there and we'll head over to the Loom and we'll show you what's going on with that. Alright, so we've migrated to the kitchen because everything's come. So we've got the Loom, the ECU, and a few little connectors, because I'm going to run a return line for the fuel pressure regulator that I'm putting in, but that won't be for a while yet. So let's get this open and have a look at it. So obviously the Loom, universal Loom, everyone knows what they look like. Lots of fucking wires. And then we have Nexus R3. So once you open them, you can't take them back, and I'm not planning on taking it back, so it is open and it cannot be returned now. And it's actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be. So that's Yeah, it's actually about the same. It's actually smaller than the stock ECU, I think.
Can we grab it?
Stock ECU.
Yeah.
Ah, it's in the car, I think.
The red arm says ECU.
Oh yeah, if you can grab it, yeah. Let's do a little comparison. Open here. Helps if you read it. Dog. So, yeah, page up for power. Wi-Fi antenna, a couple of these power connectors, mounting hardware, I guess, and a USB cable, and USB-C. But tell you what, they weigh a bit. It's got a fair bit of weight, and there must be a lot of heatsink in there, but I guess it is all aluminium, cast alloy or something. So, awesome. Let's get it plugged into the computer, make sure there's no updates to it. So I'm sure there'll be an update because, yeah, when you buy brand new stuff, generally it doesn't come updated. Clicking, so nice. I'm excited about this. So we'll move over to the computer. Oh fuck, didn't have a sticker. Ah, it's reversed. No, not reversed. Oh, it is reversed. So you can mount the ECU that way in the car and be able to read it, or you can mount it that way in the car and be able to read it. That's kind of cool. Not that you're going to ever see the ECU unless you have it mounted somewhere stupid. So quick start guide, whole heap of stickers. Yeah, okay, so quick button guide, I guess. And the wiring pin out. Yeah, one sec. It's actually pretty helpful having this. The amount of times I've referred to this, as long as you don't change the wire colours. So that's going to be very helpful. Alright, so we've got the stock ECU. And we've got the Haltech. So I was worried that the stock ECU was going to be a little bit smaller than the R3, so I wasn't going to be able to mount it in the same spot, but providing the wiring fits in the box, which it might be a bit tight, but it might be able to fit it in the same box, because I guess this mounts right over the edge. So we might have enough room. So, yeah, cool. So I might be able to put it in the box under the engine bay. Otherwise, yeah, we'll have to find another place for it, but it is made to go outside, so let's move it to the computer and update it. Alright, so I started doing a little bit on it. I just cut off some of these zip ties. These zip ties are fucking awesome. Never seen anything like them. So, yeah, they don't have a head on them. They're flat. They're like specific for looms. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I had to cut them. Because I've got to take some wires out of the loom because there's a lot of shit in there I'm not going to be using. So, what I have done... So I'm taking off all the sheathing because I've got to pull some of these wires out and everything's going to be routed differently to how it would normally be run. So I want to keep this stuff good in case I need to use it. But I'm not going to probably need it, but at least if I've got some of this shit laying around, I can use it later. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that off though, without de-pinning these at least, which I guess can happen. Is that Y-band and CAN 2, CAN 1?
You have like a crimper tool?
Yeah, but I can just pull the plug out and then pull the pins out and then re-pin it again, just to get that out. But I don't want to take that off yet because I don't know if I'm going to be mounting it in the car or if I'm going to be mounting it in the stock location. So if it's on there, at least if I plan to mount the ECU in the car, I can use it. If I take it off, then I can't.
You said you wanted to put it near the passenger side.
Yeah, I'm undecided on that yet. I want to put it in, like if I can, I'll put it in the standard ECU box, but I might not be able to.
Right.
We might pull that out, so I can pull this out, so I can pull this off.
Mm.
So I want to pull this one back.
Lighting my camera. Oh, nice.
Okay, that can stay there. And then we can pull this one out.
What about the sleeve? Oh, is it tight on?
Yeah, that's fine. The sleeve can stay there. Heat shrink. And can I get this out without fucking something up? Yeah, some thick wires. No, I'll have to probably de-pin that to get that off as well.
Don't we have heat shrink that big?
Not that big, no. No, I've got to buy some.
Roco or some shit?
Can you grab me the Milwaukee stripper pliers? I think they're in the garage anyway. Otherwise, I might be in the car. I might have to go to the car to get them. So basically what we want to do is get all this shit off so I can get to the wires that I'm not using, like knock signal to cam trigger, because obviously there is no camshaft in the rotary, and a few extras. So I got a Haltech printout for the I/O report for what we're using and what we're not using, and we're not using a couple of SPI inputs, the knock signal for knock 2, 2 injector outputs, 1 ignition output, and trigger. Might have to check that because we should have a trigger here. Where's the trigger? Trigger system. Yeah, so there is a trigger there. There's another trigger. That must be cam trigger. Grey, black. C2, C3, C4. And C1 is what we're using. So I think that it's... That might be in the car then. Yeah, so there's home and there's trigger and there's knock 1, knock 2. I'll go grab them out of the car, shall I? Alright, so what we're doing, just trying to mock up a placement for this ECU. So obviously stock ECU box, this is the red one, so no engine. And yeah, I think it'll fit perfectly fine like that. So I just have to twist the harness up so I can get the wires out of the way, and there's still a bit of room behind there. This is the one I'm concerned about the most though, because they're thick wires and they don't like to be moved very much. So it does fit there pretty well. Like if I bring it up a little bit, because there's obviously going to be a power steering module underneath that as well. Bring it up a little bit so it's not sitting on the ground. I get a bit more room there. So I think we'll mount it in this box. I was looking at mounting it back behind the washer bottle. I know a couple of the guys, I think they do, when they do the K20 swap, or the LS swap, they generally run, for us Australians obviously, because we've got the brake booster on the right, they just utilise that hole and run the ECU into the cabin, because there is an indent there already, but yeah, I don't really feel like doing that. So I'd much rather have it here, and being it's got Wi-Fi on it anyway to be able to tune it, so yeah, I don't have to have that specific antenna that they give you, because that'll just get annoying. So I just run a one of those fucking detachable antennas, the same ones that I have on my computers, because obviously I work in IT, so you just screw it in there. It's just an SMA connector, and then you can just have it wherever the fuck you want it. You can even bring it out and mount it up here or something. So I think we'll run with that. Yeah, so that makes life a lot easier, because I was thinking, well, if we bring that and put it over there, how are we going to get all of the harness that we need to connect into here for the power steering and the thermo fans, the power and all that? We're going to have to build another bridge harness that goes from here around or in or around here and up there, and just going to be fucking messy. So we'll stick with this. This will work fine. So I just got to overlay this onto the black engine, so I can work out the lengths and where everything's going to go, so I can start trimming this shit down, because there's a lot of shit there. And yeah, then we'll start getting it all terminated up and see if we can get it plugged in and working within the next day or two. So exciting. By the way, I do have my Haltech shirt on. It actually looks pretty damn good. So yeah, it's fucking awesome. And the Haltech hoodie, that thing is fucking amazing. I wore it all fucking night. The premium one, I definitely recommend it. Anyway, we'll go play with the black one, get this all started, and yeah, we'll come back and show you where we're going. Alright, so I've been shopping. Went to JCar, got some shit. So got a whole heap of little mini zip ties to bundle all the wires together. I got some self-closing shit, which I'm probably not going to use. Whole heap of different size, expandable braided sleeving, some DT connectors, Dutch connectors, some 20mm heat shrink, a whole heap of different size heat shrinks. So there's 24, there's 8mm, I think there's 6, there's 4, there's clear, there's 12, yeah, whole heap of shit. And I've had to redo a few of the I/O outputs on the Haltech, so I've just printed out another report for that. So I managed to mess up the half bridge outputs and I had them assigned wrong. So now, yeah, the pink ones are assigned to drive-by-wire and all the brown ones are assigned to the oil metering pump. And then, yeah, all the canbus stuff is good. Fixed up the aircon, and yeah, have a free couple of wires now. So obviously we're not using NOC 2. Have a few ignition outputs available, high current output, because RX-8 uses a relay for the fans, so I may as well use them instead of the high current outputs. There's no need to use that, like you can if you want, but I don't see a need for it when there's already a relay in place. May as well use that for something else later. Can always change it later anyway, it's just, yeah. So, first thing we'll do, I mean, we don't need these on here anymore.
Because we know what it is.
Yeah, like they're just the connectors to, the fucking things to know what they are.
Well, there's a knife over there.
Just peel it off.
Oh, there's one of them things.
Yeah. Should be able to peel it off. I don't want to be cutting into my sheathing. Alright, fine. Don't get it. I swear last time I just peeled it off, but that's heat shrink.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know. It's softly. Software needs an update though.
Did you update it?
Well, I pressed update on it.
Oh,
I'm guessing I installed the update. Not sure though.
who knows? Error loading page layouts. Interesting. Let's close this. Try that again. Where's Haltech fucking ESP, NSP? Oh, it's right in the top corner. Derp.
There we are. It's all sorted.
There we go. Alright, so we'll do throttle first.
Isn't there like a wiring page you bring up before?
Yeah, that's exactly what I just printed out before.
Yeah.
Won't work for what I want to do. I want to go throttle, drive-by-wire, these are the pins I need. The wiring pinout doesn't do that. It just says, this is your AV inputs, this is where they go. I want to go, this is drive-by-wire, this is what you need.
Why don't they do it on...
This is what it does.
Why don't they do it on the page then?
I don't know. So we need white with green stripe, white with orange stripe, which is probably going to be in these, I think.
So white with green stripe?
Yeah, and white with orange.
White with black stripe. White with orange stripe?
Yeah.
That has a bit of orange to it, check that.
It's like a yellow, white with yellow.
Yeah.
And imagine if there's a white with orange, there's a white with yellow. Yes, there is a white with yellow. Wait, there's no, oh yeah, there is white, yellow, white, orange. Alright, so that was fun. So what I found out is the pink with brown is a half bridge output, and the pink with red is also a half bridge output. But pink with red also powers canbus, and the pink with brown is supposed to power 12 volt sensors, and we're not using them for that. So in can 1, pink with red is a half bridge output. I don't know why they use that. I guess it's the only way to control 12 volt, and we need all half bridge outputs for stepper motor, for OMP, and for drive-by-wire. So we've got to redo this part and this part. Fun. So that's O2 sensor wideband, which is fine. That's got its own power signal apparently. So this isn't going to be a problem on CAN bus with power because I'm not running any Haltech CAN bus powered devices. Nothing. Both CAN bus ports are going to the car, one for EPS, one for vehicle integration. So electronic power steering, EPS, and CAN bus integration for the dashboard and aircon and all that kind of shit. So yeah, having that not powered is not going to affect anything until I decide to use this for a Haltech powered device. Anyway, so we've got to take this join out and remove all that wire, which definitely reduces the size of the harness a lot. And the only 12 volt sensor or device that I have on the car that I'm aware of is the boost control solenoid. Everything else is 5 volt, I believe, anyway. So we'll remove that, just leave one wire, which will be for drive-by-wire, put it into here, and that'll be that part done. Then we need to grab this wire out too. So hopefully that's going to be long enough. Because I don't think there is another... Is there another? So there's a pink with red there, and it goes that way. And goes that way. What? Oh, probably goes to these. How annoying. Alright, so it's been hell. So I've got the loom all laid out where it needs to go. So I put zip ties pretty much everywhere there's going to be a branch, as well as holding some stuff together. So obviously ignition, injectors, SSV, VDI, oil metering pump, wideband O2, crank trigger, knock sensor, grounds, I think that's oil pressure and temperature, neutral and reverse switch, current temperature I think, do not remember, it's labelled here anyway. And then all the stuff that needs to stay in the fuse box is all here. All the stuff that needs to go, which isn't being used, is here. So before I depin them, I'm going to go back through the config and make sure that I can't use these for anything else. But I generally like to depin them from here to those connectors, so that later if I want to add something, I just got to plug the fucking connector back in and then run the wire through the loom. Obviously this isn't a fucking motorsport bloody mil-spec one, which is fully heat shrinked and never going to come apart again, so I can do that. Otherwise, you know, if I feel inclined, I can cut it and leave it in there and then just resolder it on later or crimp it on later, but I'm not sure yet. But I generally, prefer to take these out and get them out of the loom, because I don't think I'm going to use them for anything. But the plan is now I need to redo this because there's a lot of excess here now. I did that before I put it in the car, and thought I would need some excess to pull these through. And I probably can just pull all these fucking pink ones and pull all the excess out. But there's a few which may not work like that. So there's a few here that come up and go to the canbus ports as well. So yeah, some of them may not be able to do that. Alrighty, so I went and bought some shit this morning. So we got two of these, the Bosch fuel injector connectors, crimp-on ones. The what do you call it? Fucking Bosch pressure temperature sensor plug. So that's the 5-pin one. Got the oil fuel boost pressure sensor, the 10-bar one. And an adapter to go to ARB-8 to 1/8 MPT. So that'll be for fuel pressure. New intake air temperature sensor, because I couldn't get that plug from anywhere, and it was cheap enough just to buy a whole new sensor just so I could get that plug. Whatever. And this also came this morning. So this is from Franklin Performance. It's a oil pressure sensor adapter for the RX-8. So essentially this here mounts onto the pedestal. So this mounts to, I think it mounts this way. So it comes with O-rings, a whole new set of O-rings. That mounts onto the block, I'm assuming that way. Has a 1/4 MPT and two 1/8 MPTs, and you get mounting hardware for it. So I'm going this way because where I'm pulling the turbo feed for the oil feed for the turbo is before the filter, and I want to grab it after the filter, and also want to measure the oil pressure and temperature going through the system. So this will do that because it's the 5-pin connector, and also have this side which will go to the turbo. So that'll be to feed the turbo, and then this side will just be blocked off like it is now. So yeah, it actually came in like 2 days. It was crazy. It's quicker to buy from New Zealand than it is to buy from Sydney. So I've got all the wires and everything ready to go for that. So obviously the loom started doing a little bit more on it. I did miss a wire, so I've had to add in these ones here, which is for the fuel pressure. I completely forgot about fuel pressure. I thought I added it in, but I did not. So I've rerun that wire through there, added another 5-volt and ground, because that sensor, this one needs 5-volt supply, ground, and then a signal output. So we're kind of at that point now where I need to remove these wires, which are not being used. So they're the spare outputs. All of the inputs are being used. It's just these outputs, which are not, and I can't think of any reason to use them. Obviously I could probably use them later for intercooler sprayers or water injection or something like that. But yeah, right now I don't need it, so I'm going to depin these and remove them. These ones need to be sheathed, whatever, protected, so that this can go onto there, bring down in here, and I can add a joint onto there. This one's already done. we've got to start sheathing these and adding these because these are going to be two separate wires going down. So that's why I got a whole heap of shit there. And then finish that part so we can get it into the car. Now I also did crimp on these for the 4 gauge. So this is a 4 gauge automotive wire from J-Car. So auto marine power cable 4 gauge. So yeah, they're going really well. So I just use the old crimpers for that. So I must have put them back in the garage already. Just the manual ones. Anyway, put that under here. It's not needed. These finally came as well, which are the splicing terminals. So they are good for joining wires together. So they're just little crimp-ons, so you can use your open uninsulated barrel connectors, crimpers, or these ones for some of them. They are very small. So I'm probably going to find I'm going to need to use these for most of them. So that might have been a waste of money buying those other ones, but I definitely cannot crimp these. These are too big. So whatever. Don't really need to do that anyway because most of this harness is terminated already. I'm just removing wires more than adding wires. So I think the first thing is remove the shit that we don't need. I kind of want to cut it just so it's there for later, and I can always extend it if I want to, but then if I pull the whole wire out, at least I can just stick the wire back in and replace that heat shrink. But getting that heat shrink on was a pain in the fucking ass because I had to come on from this side and go through all the fucking branches. So I guess once that's shrunk down, you can't really take it off and replace it. Not sure. And it's not really going to affect anything being here, so I could just cut it and then loop it and leave it in there and then pull them out later. I might do that rather than depinning. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to need any more wires, but like I said, they can be useful for later. You know, generic outputs or whatever. But yeah, I've got no inputs left, so I'm using everything. No, I'll have a think about that, and then yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so just trying to work out where we can trim things off and get a bit more under control now, because we're pretty much at that point now where we can terminate, but we can't because there's still a lot of shit going on in here. So we're going to have the ECU essentially in the box here, and I'm thinking I might add a loop in there, so instead of it coming up and going this way, it comes back around and then goes that way, so I've got a bit more room and shit going on in here. In case I need to add something or remove something or change something, that I have a little bit of extra wire to do that. Not normally needed, but you know, at least if it's in there, I can do something with it. If it's not in there, I can't do anything with it. So that means that the ECU will be something like that. So if we get rid of all this shit, I haven't trimmed that down yet either. That's just sitting there. Now, it is raining on and off, as you can see. It's just started spitting again. So I'm very limited to time and what I can do today. Which is a bit of a fucking annoying, because I wanted to have most of this done today and I haven't had to do nearly anything. It's like, oh, it's not raining, let's go outside and try doing some stuff. Get out here and it starts fucking raining. It's like, god damn it. Like, seriously? Whatever. Okay, so the ECU loom's going to go like this. Oil metering pump and position sensor goes down there, so that can pretty much be terminated straight away because that's long enough. Yeah, it's got plenty of room. That's good. Wideband O2 is going to just flop around down here. We have injectors. So that one's good as well, so we'll pretty much be good just to terminate them. There's plenty of room on that. Now what are these two? VDI and SSV, so they'll follow that same path. I think that's engine coolant temperature, so that's going to be right in there. So I'm making these all have a little bit of extra, because I want a little bit more, I don't want it to be like straight into a connector. I want it to have a little loop there. So this allows me to do that. I'll cut all these at the same fucking length. That's where the car just fucking moved. So being that that's going to be under the manifold and in the back here, it gives me room to take the manifold off and have a little bit of room there. Yeah, so that's going to be like that. They're definitely going to be longer, but that's fine. And then engine coolant temperature, it's going to be its own little stalk, so that's good. Now, unfortunately, most of these, the labels are in here or down here. So I've got to look at the pinout to see where things are going and where they're going to and blah, blah, blah. And also cut off these zip ties now because they're not needed. They were just needed to pair things together. That's drive-by-wire. So that can get a plug pretty much straight onto it. Let's cut these fuckers off. Go back over here. Drive-by-wire, more there. Definitely went overboard with the zip ties, but I'd rather have more zip ties and keep things in place than things just doing whatever they want to do and then find out later I missed something. Another zip tie. Now, drive-by-wires here, so I'll pull that down. So I did mess up on this as well. I forgot to put a 5 volt in there and a ground, expecting it to run on hopes and dreams. So I've added them back in, and that will pretty much just come straight up, be under there, have enough room to come up and straight into the connector. So that's good. That drive-by-wire cable can go in. What is that? Evap. That is definitely way too long, because that's only got to go to here. So that can come back here. And come, now it's got to come up and go in, so we'll cut it there. Just move that zip tie down. So zip tie, there we go. So that will be fine to go straight into that. Ignition coils are going to a DT6 plug. So it's just going to plug straight into the original harness that I made, so that will just go straight into there, so that can go straight up. What is that? So that's oil pressure and temperature, knock, grounds, and reverse and neutral. So they're pretty much just going to go this way. I don't care about anything else. Home position, that can go pretty much straight down. And that's going to come down into here. So I'll leave a little bit more on that because that'll be fine. Now this will be intake air temperature and what else was there? That's a 12 volt, so that's not intake air temp. Who is calling me now? No idea. So 12 volt won't be intake air temperature. This will be intake air temperature. So that can go straight in there. And that will be fine to have a plug like that. So that plug can go straight on. What was that one for? I have to look it up the schematic and see, because I do not remember. And this one, there's a couple of things I don't remember what they're for. Jesus. Anyway, I'll figure it out. I don't think I got any more room on that. Why do I? No. That's all I got there. Kind of wish that was a little bit longer so I had a little bit more on the drive-by wire, but it should be enough anyway. Clean up that mess later. So yeah, we can do this one down here. So I'll put a connector on that. Put the drive-by wire connector on. I think that is alternator. I'm pretty sure because that's 12 volt and signal. So, oh wait, that's evap. Sorry, my bad. Alternator was one of these. I think that might be alternator. I just got to connect straight into there. And the intake air temperature, coils, knock, oil pressure and temperature, reverse and neutral, and grounds. So we are good to go. I just need to figure out what the hell. Fuel pressure. That's fuel pressure. Definitely doesn't need to be that long. Just cut that off here for the moment. Just do the old twisties around just to keep it all together. Not that it's going to stay like that, I don't think, because as soon as I let it go, it's just going to unravel and fucking go everywhere and knot up. And we let it go. And yeah, it's not terrible, but it's pretty bad. Anyway, so fuel pressure, that's not going to move. So it's going to be coming down, going back behind here, and then going into about there. So we'll cut it there. Should have brought out some more tape for this. Whatever. Fuck it. For now, I'll just put some electrical tape over it. Because I got to look at the wiring schematic anyway to confirm pinouts and yada yada, so that will be fine. There is a fucking bonnet there. These two need to go to the gearbox. So that's just reverse and neutral, which don't even, apparently, I don't think they actually need to go to the VCU. VCU, fucking, yeah, VCU, Haltech, whatever. But I'm putting them there in case I can always remove them from the config and just depin them. But at least if they're there, they're there. I don't have to worry about adding them later. Because once I seal up this loom, there's no adding wires in. Obviously I can just cut the heat shrink and do it again and pull the connectors off and put more heat shrink on and whatever, but it just gets messy. So, whatever. So that is oil pressure and temperature. I know that because it's going to be going here. NOx sensor is going to be going straight below it. Ground's going to be going below that. They can all go on. Alternator control can go on. Evap can go on. Initial coils can go on. I don't remember what that is for. And that one is intake air temp. I know that. What in the fuck was that for? Do not remember. It's going to drive me fucking mental. Yes, cutters. Awesome. All right, let's go start sheathing, whatever. Sheathing all this so we can get it done. So I'm going to move back inside and get this fucking shit sorted. Alright, so I had to go to Officeworks and buy some more Dymo fucking label writer roll because I ran out. So this time I bought plastic instead of paper. Paper ones are fucking terrible. So I've just printed out all the labels for the ones that I can remember. I got to go through and check a couple before I actually put these labels on, but the idea is essentially, like, let's just say intake air temperature, right? And that'll be this one. So once the I don't know what the shit's called, the braided stuff's on there, this will go over the top, and then I'll put clear heat shrink over it and shrink it down, so it'll pretty much cover that. Unfortunately I couldn't get smaller than that, but yeah. Just to make it so we know exactly what that fucking wire is. And yeah, obviously I didn't do the NOx sensor yet, so I might actually do that one. Not that it really matters. KNOC. Okay. So technically, I can cut these down, cut all that shit off the side there, but not going to matter anyway. So then yeah, that'll go on like that. And then clear heat shrink over the top. So yeah, should be good. Now obviously I've already started putting some braid on there. I had to go to JCar and get more because I ran out. Apparently I need a few more meters than I expected to. Especially for like the gearbox. Like pretty much going to need the whole thing for the gearbox in one go. So I get a little bit left over, but I don't know what size that is yet because I haven't actually measured it. So I just put in enough and then I can always cut it down later. Now, the injectors, what I'm planning on doing here is I will cut that, say about here, because this is a fucking huge wire. That's a 25 amp wire. So it's like a 10 gauge wire or something. And crimp on some flying leads for that. So like some of this, because it's 12 volt power to trigger to power the injectors. So we'll have essentially four of these together. Crimp them off. Oh, sorry, strip them off, and then crimp all of these together. So I have 4 power wires for injectors. That actually might work pretty good, but yeah, so there's no point running a wire this thick just for injectors. Like, that's fucking stupid. So cut it there, crimp on 4 little wires, and then run them all individual to here, and terminate them and heat shrink, braid heat shrink each one individually. The coil harness, I have a DT6 connector for, probably not that one, maybe this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, DT6 connector. Yeah, because I already have a coil harness in the car, all I need to do is add a ground to this, which will go to the same grounds as this one. And then that's done. Like, that can literally just go straight to one connector, which is why I did it that way originally. was so that I could just unplug the coils and yeah, pretty much change the coils or change from the harness or whatever. So it makes life a little bit easier for me because I thought ahead with that when I did it. So there's 4 coil triggers and a power. All I need is a ground. Then I can get rid of that relay and everything into that I've put in the car. So first thing is I just want to go through and finish braiding these so I can get that squared away. This one is AC trigger, this one is IAT. So I couldn't figure out what this other one was, and yeah, looked at the schematic. And yeah, it's aircon. Makes fucking sense. So unfortunately the aircon's got to get triggered by the ECU by the looks of things, so... but I'll provide all this shit in the video description as well, just so if anyone else is doing it, they don't have to go through the same kind of headache that I'm going through. But I'm sure Haltech has a plan for the RX-8 soon, but we will see. So intake air temperature, essentially just go like that, get it up to as close as possible from where that is, and then we cut that. And before I let go, I get my fucking lighter and just burn the edges, stop them from fraying. Technically, you should cut it with a hot knife, but whatever. Don't have one. Where'd it go? There it is. Now, I'm also removing the zip tie as well. It doesn't need to be there. Now, I'm just twisting the wires together a little bit, just to give it a bit more rigidity. Because they are definitely a bit long. They don't need to be this long, but I gave them a little bit more length just so I've got enough. But anyway, that'll do. It'll unravels anyway, so once it's in here, it's not going to be a fucking problem. And just feed that fucker in. Feed it down a little bit more. And then that's it. So I was repeating that process a couple more times. Probably didn't need to buy 2-3 bags of this fucking shit, but whatever, I'm glad I've got enough. I'm sure I'm going to need more for that shit over there. And there. So, smells like burning rubber, this. Fucking horrible smell. I'm not going to bother twisting that. Didn't work on the last one. Now, unfortunately, I didn't think about the air compressor fucking connector, so I didn't buy one. So I will have to take the one off the current harness, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass, but whatever. If that's all I got to deal with, then that is fine. And now this is oil pressure and temperature. And that's fuel pressure. Yep, cool. That'll fit, 3mm braid. Yeah, it'll fit in a 3mm braid. Easy. So because I'm using the Bosch Motorsport fuel oil fucking coolant pressure temperature sensor, this needs to have a 5V, a ground, and 2 sensor outputs. So one for pressure, one for temperature. Did I not cut that? I didn't cut that. I'm a dick. Too busy talking. And we'll cut that right there. And they're pretty much the same fucking length, aren't they? Almost. Which one do I use? I'm going to say that one. I don't think it's going to matter, to be honest with you. Why does that seem so short? Interesting. Oh, I know why. Because it's expanded. So if I used a 6mm, I would have got away with that, but whatever. I mean, the connector's going to go on here. I just put a little bit more heat shrink here, which will only leave that much wire free. Because, yeah, the connector, which is in amongst all this shit. There. Doesn't really have a way to boot it anyway, so once they go under there, I'll just put heat shrink to here, and then, yeah, that'll be fine. Here's what it is. So that's all that done. Now I need to do the knock. Can I get away with the knock one being like that? No, I cannot. That needs to be the 6mm stuff. I had the same problem with that one. I ended up cutting some for the crank angle sensor, and it was way too short because it expanded, because I didn't take into account the wire is a bit bigger than the braid, and when the braid expands it gets smaller. Beautiful. I can do that one as well. I wonder if that leftover piece will be enough. Nah, because I want to go up there. So I'm going to need a bit more of that, and probably bigger. So that's probably too big. So we'll try the 10. Is it 10mm? It's this one. 6mm, 3mm, 3mm. Yeah, that's a bit better. So you want to get that one the whole way up, because that's going to have a DT connector. So we'll go to here. You get there. And this is where braid gets a little bit more of a pain in the ass. Trying to cut it and seal it before it expands. It's nothing worse than braid expanding. It just looks fucking terrible. What the fuck is that kid going on about? I don't know if you can hear that, the kid's screaming in the background. Beautiful, that'll work well. So that'll just have yay connector on the back and then some heat shrink coming to here, so that will be beautiful. and this is going to have a bit of heat shrink like this stuff, dual walled epoxy filled, so that'll come up to like here and just nest it all together. I decided to do a branch here, so it just goes straight out to everything, rather than trying to come out here and then go another straight and then come out here and then another straight and come out here, and yeah, just go straight there and go everything out. Same with here. That's the one branch here, so I've only got 2 branches, one here, one here. Just keeps things nice and easy. Needs to go in the bin. Okay. Now, may as well do these. One thing I need to look at is the gearbox neutral and reverse. I think needs power. I don't think one of them doesn't. I know that because one of them just has one single wire, but I'm pretty sure. No, wait, no, they don't. Both of them have a power because there needs to be a power in, and then when you put into neutral or put in reverse, it either goes open or provides power. So I think I need to run a power for that, so both of them can share it. So 2 more power wires. Yeah, I need to look that shit up because I'm not going to be able to do it soon if I don't do it now. And that's going to be fucking shit. Like obviously all these pink and browns are all 12 volt, all of the oranges are 5 volts. So I can tap into any of these pink and browns and get the same, because they all branch up into there. And yeah, that's all being powered by 125 amp. So the spare one of these that I had, 25 amp high current outputs. So I might just go look that up now and see if I need 12 volt or 5 volt for those switches, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to need 12. So I'll go look at that now and we'll come back and have a look and see what we're doing. Alright, so we'd done a few things last night. I was just laying in bed, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to crimp some of these connectors on. So I just put some TV show on and just crimped for like 4 hours. So yeah, done engine coolant temperature, drive-by-wire, alternator, evap sensor, but the plug was wrong, so I've just got the kind of terminals on there. Oil pressure and temperature, intake air temperature, and fuel pressure over there. So I'm just doing the ignition coils, fucking injectors. And I thought I'd better record this part because this part I didn't know what to do for a long time. So I tried using some of these gold crimps on this wire. Fits pretty good, but my crimpers won't crimp it. They're too big. It'll crimp anything from like this size, but yeah, that's too small. So I've decided to go for one of these lug ones. So it's just I don't know if that's copper or if it's just tinned. Yeah, I don't know. So that works. And yeah, crimped it on there, and she good. So I'm just putting some heat shrink over it, and then I can run the injectors, trim them down, put the plugs on, and then do the last connector for the ignition coils. And then I've got to do the oil metering pump connectors, and then can start putting it in the car. Because yeah, the oil metering pump I've left to last. So they're these wires here. That's the part I'm worried about the most. So now we have 4 injector power, sorry, 4 injector 12 volt power, and 4 injector triggers. So we just, so I know that when I had it on the car, this is where the branch off was. So our metering pump and then injectors went this way. So I know that the 2 injectors for the primaries are going to be about here, and the last secondary is going to be about here. So I'm not going to trim this down any more than we are. We're just going to have a little bit of a loop going into the injector, so I've got more room to play with it. So I'm just going to get all these the same length and cut them and put plugs on them and label them so we know which one's what. Little wires to cut. Did it alright. Ah, whatever, I can stay on the ground. So, need some of that shit. The dog is not happy with me this morning. I locked him in the room, so he's barking at me. Alright. So first thing is we need to put some thicker stuff over this to put it into the loom, and then from here branch off into smaller ones. So I don't think that's going to be smaller. Maybe. We'll try it. We'll add a little bit more because it's going to shrink. Where'd my lighter go? God damn it. Oh, right there. Same size, virtually. Random hair. So we use a longer one just because. Pull some of that excess. Where the fuck are the other blue ones? Yeah, they are. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is one of them tight? One of them not? What? Whatever. Wires for you guys. Okay, so that will go up into there. That's beautiful. Yeah, that will work perfectly. Look at that. And then, for each of these branches, we're just going to do small ones. So some of this small shit, and we're going to need to put it right there and cut it about, yeah. There it is. Could that be half? Oh, it's so close. Now what the plan is to have all these butted up against here and put one big piece over this. So it's just a branch going into other branches. So I think we're going to need something like this one. Oops. That's a 4x. Yeah, so this is a 4 times shrink. And that's 12 mil, which is probably going to be overkill for this, but yeah, we'll see. Where's my scissors gone? God damn it, I keep losing shit. There. Too much shit going on my bench. That stuff is thick. Alright, so that is beautiful. So I'm going to see this a little bit shorter because that's a primary injector. Sorry, secondary one injector. Now, I've got a heat shrink on the end of these, which is the 6mm, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Four injectors. Now we need to get these plugs. So two Bosch injector plugs with the boots on them, and there's one Denso. Another one. Alright, oh, there it is. Two. So we have Bosch, Denso. Okay, so primaries need the Denso types. The whole zoo came out.
Yeah, they always look really fun.
Opened the door and all these animals started flooding out the room. What are you doing, dickheads? Yeah, nothing fun happening out here. Alright, so we got stage 1, rotor 1, blue. So that will be this one. So that is blue the whole way around. Yes. Now, generally you want to have a little bit of spare there, so we'll do it there. Now, I had a problem with these last night where they were crimping, they were flattening too much and they were going up into here. So, what the hell is that, bro? So yeah, cutting it back a little bit shorter this time. Just didn't feel right. They don't need much. Yeah, and my crimpers. And these actually work really well. I'm actually surprised. Just making sure you don't crimp them too far. So generally, yeah, the edge, inside edge, I just put it just a little bit out so there's a bit, because when you crimp these, some of them have like a little lip just here, and if you crimp too far into here, it crushes that and then pulls this together, and it just fucks it. And some of them have a pin on the back here, which if you go too far in, it crushes that. So yeah, I'm just making sure that when the crimp is on there, I'm coming to about here. So there's just a little bit of overhang where it's not being crimped, but because most of it's being crimped, it's going to crimp it anyway. It just, yeah, it's one of those fucking annoying problems. Now we put that into there, hold the boot, jam it in there, make sure the wire's not coming through too much, which it's not, and crimp. And that is beautiful, apart from that fucking boot that came out a little bit. And now, because I'm left-handed, they don't make these for left-handers. Push that through. Interesting. Must have done it one more click. Get in there, bro. The little silicon bit holds that wire pretty damn well. But we don't want it to hold it that much. About, yeah. Make sure there's no strand that just got caught. Okay. Sometimes this can be a fucking pain in the ass. Yes. Wait, no. Fuck. This is what I mean by they don't make them for left-handers. Because inside of the die, there is a step. And you gotta do it the right way or you crimp the wrong way. Yes, there we go. Beautiful. So, inside of these, I don't know if you can actually see that. There's a lower side, and then halfway down there's a higher side, so there's actually a lip here. So you only go in a certain amount, and it's pretty much... So this end here doesn't get crimped down as much as this end. So the wire crimp side on this side for the higher side, so that it crimps the wire more, where this side is for the waterproofing terminal. Now, being these are injectors, I don't believe they are polarity conscious, so they don't give a shit which way they go as long as they get a power, a positive and a negative. Beautiful. Beautiful. One injector done. So now primary 2 is blue with black. This one. Now I'm just going to do it the same length. So about there. So much wire fucking floating around right now. whatever pin that one is. Yeah, I don't care. As I said, they're solenoid. They get power, they open. They don't really care which way they get power as long as they get power. And then these two are for the secondary injectors. This one should be interesting because this one has a whole lot more weird shit going on. So before we do anything, the boot's going on. Because I always forget to put the fucking boot on. You put the crimp on and you're like, yeah, let's do that. And you're like, hang on, I'm missing something. Where's the fucking boot? Okay, so this one needs about yay much. And then the boot goes on and protects it from everything. Beautiful. Fuck, that's a big boot, isn't it? Holy shit. Velvety. That's supposed to go over the lip, or is it supposed to sit there? But whatever, that works. Okay. One done. Damn it. Yeah, just look at that. Fucking. If I had made that just a little bit longer, or at least a little bit shorter, whatever. Whatever. Alright. So now, injector's done. Got to do the coil plug. Now, I need to verify the pinout on the car for this, because I have one of these on the car already, and I need to make sure that I have the pinout right. And I could deal with that mess. Oh, the fun. We're pretty much ready to plug it in though and actually test everything. I still need to connect yay wire as well. This is for fuel pressure. Just got to tie that into another pink with brown, as long as it's not drive-by-wire. Fucking fuel pressure. So back around. The fucking stop. What? Hello? Why does it lay my phone flat? It flips around. Chill. Okay. So what we have left: OMP, crank angle sensor, coils, and SSV VDI. That's it. And then you can put it on the car, give it some power. Oh, I might put it on the bench, give it some power, test these functions work before I stick it in the car. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. See what I feel like doing. Gotta go out soon, so. Alright, so we're in the testing phase now. So just ironing out all the bugs. I still haven't done ignition coils or flex fuel sensor or gearbox, neutral, reverse, and AC compressor. So we've got, actually let me just record this on the screen. So, just recording the screen now. So the problem that I've got, right, is we got fuel pressure is good, which is this one. Had some problems with that. Oil pressure is good. So that's 0 psi. That's on this Bosch pressure and temperature sensor. So oil temperature is also good. It's 21 degrees. And I've been having problems with intake air temperature and coolant temperature. And what I just realized is, I didn't think about this part, the two wires for temperature sensors, one needs to be a ground and the other one needs to be the signal. So this one, the signal one provides the 5 volt, and then it grounds and measures the resistance through the sensor from this. And I've got a 5 volt and a signal 5 volt, so that's why it don't work. So unfortunately, I don't have any more of these connectors, these crimp-on terminals. So instead of pulling this all apart, I'm going to have to cut it down here and then join it into the signal sensor ground, which is this one here. Not ideal, but I've got no options for that. So yeah, whatever. But everything else is working. So before I do that, I'll just show you the tested drive-by-wire. Obviously I've got no throttle sensor plugged in at the moment. So if we go into engine functions, throttle, and calibration. So see, drive-by-wire works. Well, this calibrates anyway. Yeah, I just can't do obviously the throttle calibration for the foot pedal because it's not on the car and I don't have a foot pedal here. Yeah, there's nothing. So we'll do that when it's on the car. But I'm glad that's working, and obviously oil meter and pump. I haven't done that yet, that's still sitting here. So it's throwing errors for OMP, throttle, air temp, and coolant temp. So I'm going to fix the air temp and the coolant temp now. Yeah, just splice that into the ground. And yeah, that'll get that done. Then we can put it in the car. So I've got everything down to just this little bundle of wires here, which is just ignition, throttle pedal A and B, thermo 1 and 2, clutch pedal, and I think it was AC pressure and coolant level is in that. So that should be pretty simple. And then we've got boost control here, which I've got to work out exactly how long that needs to be. And yeah. Alright, so I've fixed up most of that shit. Yeah, not ideal, but yeah, I'm kind of at that point where I'm like, I've got no choice to do that. Got no connectors and I want to get it in the car today. I can always replace that wire later if I got to replace that connector for any reason, but whatever, it'll work. It's just, I need to know that the IAT sensor, so the intake air temperature sensor, and the coolant temperature sensor have an orange wire instead of a black wire. So what we've got now, these ones we have to tie into the body for accelerator pedal, thermo fans, ignition switch and so on. This one's fuel pump, cruise control. It's got a battery there at the moment, powering everything. Everything's on there except for the ignition coils, because the DT6 connector I've got to put on to match up with the DT6 connector that's already on the car for the coils that I did. I'm still waiting on the plug for the crank angle sensor, so that'll be here Tuesday. So it's not like we're going to get it started today, but at least it'll be in the car and we'll start fault finding what we're fucked up on. All the sensors are working now. That's AC, which I don't think we actually needed on this engine loom, but we'll see. And NOx sensor, I'm still waiting for the plug. So yeah, we've got everything working. And the VDI and SSV plugs, cannot find them anywhere, so I'm going to have to pull them off of the loom I've got. Like, I've searched everywhere for those plugs. They are the weirdest type of plug to find, and can't find them, so whatever. So we're going to rip this into the car, start ripping out the old ECU, start placing this in, and see if I fucked up anywhere else so we can get it working. Alright, let's switch over to the car. Alright, so we're ripping into this. Got to probably take that one off too, so we can take the elbow out and take it out of the way, because
Is it in the way, is it?
it's going to be in the way.
Yeah. If you stop moving, I can get it off.
I'm trying to get the clamp before it drops. Alright, so the ECU's out. Got a few of these connectors out. We're taking the upper intake manifold off because we need to get to the coils and the coil harness, which is below the upper intake manifold. Probably going to take the battery out as well, because we've got to get to the oil metering pump to change the plug on it, unfortunately. Yeah. Pretty straightforward shit, really.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Almost fucking killed the car.
Alright, so it's starting to rain, sprinkle. Got some fucking random cloud coming over. It's just enough to get wet the ground. So we've got all the intake manifold off. We're starting to just make sure everything's in the right place. I decided that I'm taking... So I've taken the OMP plug off of the original loom. I've got these connectors here already. So I'm just going to crimp these onto the wires, cut off that DT plug, crimp these on, and then use that original plug. And I've also had to cut off the VDI and SSV solenoid plugs. I did cut off the VDI, the fucking intake injection fucking blue one. That one. Didn't need it, but whatever. But I've also got to unpin this one for the crank angle. I have ordered another one, so when it comes I'll just chuck it on them. Yeah, just so I've got a complete loom here. And if I ever happen to find these plugs, if anyone knows where to get them, definitely let me know, so I can re-put them back onto here, so at least I have a full harness sitting around. So, get into this. Yeah, crimp them on,
What size
put this connector back on, wherever the hell I put it, and connect the OMP up. Alrighty guys, it is Monday morning, so I'm doing some more on the loom and the wiring and shit while working, so unfortunately still got to work during the day. So the plan is today we want to get the loom completely in and sealed up and see if we can get it to crank and fire. Not sure if we're going to get to that stage, but we've still got a lot to do. So have a look. Got all the plugs, so what I need to do is put the NOx sensor on. I'm still waiting for the flex fuel sensor, but I'm not going to be using flex fuel right now anyway, so not a big issue. And put on some connectors for the gearbox. for neutral and reverse. And that's pretty much really all I need to do for that side. This side I still need to do accelerator pedal and coolant sensor and fucking aircon pressure. All that fun stuff. All the stuff that I don't really care about right now. It's all about getting this stuff done so I can put the engine back together. Now I did decide I was going to use this Franklin Performance, where is it? I've lost it. That little oil plate sandwich, there it is. So I was going to chuck that in, but it is something that cannot be put in while the engine is in easily. So down near the pedestal, look at that fucker. So I've just stuck this in because I had that sitting here. That's a little fucking sandwich plate. Now to get that pedestal off while it's in the car is a bit of a pain in the ass, and I've got a slave cylinder line that runs over one of the bolts, and it was just going to be too fucking difficult. So I'll do that when I'll chuck this in when the engine comes out, when the new engine goes in, because yeah, that's going to be too much of a pain in the ass right now, and that will work fine. So most of the other guys run sandwich plates rather than that. The sandwich plate definitely is easier, but that sandwich plate's easier, but yeah, this definitely is going to be better. It doesn't interfere with the filter or anything like that. It just does prop the pedestal out a little bit. So I've got to pull the sensor off, put it into there, reroute that line, plug the line in front of the banjo bolt that goes to the oil cooler, which I might do that first. That way I can get that out of the way. And then you can probably chuck the upper intake manifold back on, because that's all I needed to do for that. Oh, I've got to do the coil harness as well. So I've got the original coil harness that I made, which is there. Now, because Haltech provides its own power, I don't need that branching off now. So yeah, I'm just gonna probably cut this and remake all this wire. Yeah, keep it simple, but I did have these labelled. I did L1, L2, T1, T2. So easiest way is just cut this off, redo this braid stuff, because I'm not happy with that braid stuff anyway. I just, never saw it. It was under the car, under the bonnet. And yeah, route that power wire through to, just here, which apparently is 25 amp wire. Apparently that's enough for the IGM1As. I thought that 10 gauge would be better, but whatever. So we'll do that as well shortly. I need to add a ground to here. I'm considering, while it's apart, adding a bigger ground and running it through the loom and out to here, so I don't have to have different wires. It's just one plug in, done. But I think these are like 7.5 amp or 12 amp or something. I don't know if that's going to be enough, so I have to run a separate plug just for power. Anyway, get stuck into this, and we'll come back soon and have a look and see what we're doing. Alright, so what we're doing now, I'm replacing the DT6 connector on here. So each of these pins apparently is rated to 13 amps, and we need about 25 amps, so I'm going to have to use 2 pins for power. And run a ground directly to the body of the engine to ground the coils. So I've cut the plug off. Obviously I'm just going to recrimp new fucking connectors under here. Now I've taken the grounding out because I don't want to ground that with sensors. So I think originally it was grounded with sensors. Wasn't really causing a problem, but at the same time, Haltech's recommendation is just put them all to one ground. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, the original fucking wire that I had, so 4 coils, they were going to each 12 gauge and getting joined and going to a single 10 gauge. So that's 10 gauge wire. and then go into a 60 amp relay. Yeah, the 60 amp relay. Yeah, 60 amp with a 60 amp breaker. So what the plan is like Haltech provides 125 amp power line for the coils. So I'm hoping that's going to be enough. Otherwise, we might run into a problem, but I guess we'll find out pretty quickly if that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to join these two together and extend them out to be double the size of the wire. So put a thicker wire in, the thickest I can put in for this type of plug, which is definitely, oh, it's about the same size. So I might have to just join these together and then put them into the plug. And then on the other end, on the Loom side, we have that 110 gauge or 12 gauge, whatever the hell it is. I'm going to have to split that off into two to run into two separate power lines through this DT connector, DT6. And then all these grounds, join them all together, crimp them, heat shrink it, whatever. And then run a thicker wire for ground to the body of the rotor housing to ground it. So I'm just going to ground it up near the head, near the intake manifold, rather than down near where the sensor ground is, and the body ground, battery ground. Which we pretty much use all 6 plugs for this. So 4 for the ignition coils, 2 for power. All grounds go to ground. So yeah, pretty simple. Now the Loom definitely doesn't need to be this long, so I might cut it all down to this length. Actually, let's have a look and see if we can squeeze 2 of these wires into this. So I'll grab one of these pins. Actually, which side? What side did I have on there? I got the pin side. That it matters because they should be the same size. Well, that is definitely a tight fit. But that does fit. So I can probably get away with something like that. So 2 of those wires into there. Should fit in the back of this. Obviously not ideal, but otherwise I've got to join 1 wire onto here and then have it go into 1 wire, and yeah, I'll see what I've got laying around. Otherwise I might have to go to JCO and get some more wire, but if I can do it that way, that might be better. Yeah, I'll have a look, see what I've got. And if I've got a little bit of thicker wire, say like a 12 gauge or a 14 gauge wire, I'll join these on, crimp them, shrink sleeve it, and then run it to one of these, and then bring that out to here, keep it all the same length, and then that can join onto here. And then I might have to buy a thicker wire, so something like that, to 10 gauge, 12 gauge for, so probably like this would be better. This is definitely almost double the thickness. I think that's 12 gauge. So I obviously got some 12 gauge lying around, I just don't know where it is. Otherwise I'll go to JCO and get some more. Alright, get stuck into this and we'll come back soon. Alright, so update time. It's now like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Run into problem after problem after problem. So we've managed to get the oil pedestal off. So yeah, it's off. I had to move the slave cylinder out of the way, and now we're going to try and use this. So originally I was going to use the sandwich plate. Where the hell did I put it? I'll find it. So sandwich plate goes on top of here and sandwiches down, and then you have MPT ports on it. But trying to take it, there it is. So sandwich plate, problem we had, all those fucking plugs broke off. So I got 1 port, which isn't enough, I need 2. So that idea didn't last very long. So we're chucking this bad boy on, and yeah, get the oil fucking sorted so I can get the intake manifold back on. I have, where is it? sorted out a lot of these plugs. Done the coil harness. Yeah, got the SSV video I done. It's all a fucking mess at the moment, but yeah, I haven't shrunk down all these yet because I didn't want to do that until I know the engine's running, so I know I haven't missed anything. So we'll get into this, get that oil pedestal back on. So that there, I did have to grind off the edge here. So you have a look on the oil pedestal, on the automatic anyway. See, it's got a flat spot. Yeah, didn't realize that. So when I went to put this on, this is from Franklin Performance or Franklin Automotive or something, it wouldn't sit down because it was hitting the gearbox. So I just ground that down with the bench grinder and the outfits. So I'm going to chuck that back on, get the oil sorted, get the intake manifold back on, and then we can start testing sensors and making sure that triggering is working and start integrating into the car. So keen for that. Alright, so it is now like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm running out of daylight. So the engine's all mostly back together. It's a whole heap of mess at the moment. So I'm trying to work out what signal's going where. Because I've got to run thermofan triggers for cooling fan 1, 2 and 3, the fuel pump trigger, grab a ignition source off with a relay, the start signal's got to get triggered as well. So I've got to work out how all that shit works. So at the moment it's just in here like this, so we can work out all of the body shit that needs to happen. So all we're going to do for now is hook up ignition power straight to battery, crank the engine over by pressing the relay here, make sure the oil pressure reads, and make sure that all the sensors are reading, and then we can start tidying up a bit. I still need to heat shrink the loom, because you can see it's still not heat shrink there. And I've done that on purpose in case something is wrong and I need to pull or push a wire through. Pretty confident that everything's there. I've got the flex fuel sensor. Well, I went to go get one today, and yeah, they gave me the wrong fucking sensor. So anyway, the knock sensor will be here tomorrow, so I can get that out of the way. And the AC I don't need in this loom because it's in the body loom, which I didn't realize that. So I'll either cut that and leave it in the loom, or I'll pull it back and use it for something else later. So we will give it some ignition power, see if we can get canbus communicating, see if we can get the sensors working, and then yeah, hopefully tomorrow get it started. Alright, so we're at the point where we just want to try it.
Yep.
So what I've done is we've still got, we're running out of light. Do you want to turn that light on?
This shit's so annoying. Can't turn it on.
Yeah, you can't use this fucking light without it unplugged from the charger. It's retarded. So
just take it off the fucking tripod, bro. Screw it out.
So we've got the fuel pump just hot wired into here, into the relay to bypass it for the moment. We've got the ECU plugged in directly into the battery just so we can just pull it out. Nothing else is connected to the car. No throttle, no nothing. We've checked fuel pressure. We've got fuel pressure, so I guess to 60 psi. We've got oil pressure, we've got oil temperature, intake air temperature, O2 is connected. So we're going to check it and see if it starts. And yeah, then we'll check the base timing and we'll go from there. Let's get this set up over here.
Scary time.
Might record it on my phone too for Facebook.
Facebook.
I'll do the same thing. So, yep, fuel pressure 63 psi. So, I think my relay's fucking broken. I've got a broken relay now. So, let's go. Pink. Yeah, turn it over. Let's give it a try. Anyway, that started straight away, so I haven't done anything else to it, just running the base map, so yeah, clean up some of this shit, get it with throttle, pedal fucking wired up, connect the rest of the sensors, clean up this mess, and I'll just sit over there at the moment. Tidy up all the wires, still got to do all this shit, so it's cooling fans, accelerator pedals, coolant level, AC pressure. But she runs again. Fucking awesome.
Hell yeah. Let's do an 8 PSI. Or 7.9 to be exact, but.
Let's try it again.
Try it again.
This time I'm going to want this so I can get the TDC offset.
What is Haltech logging?
Hey?
Is Haltech logging, is it?
No. You need to get the offset.
And how do you do that?
By starting up.
I'm not good with tuning.
I don't know what that sound is.
What is it?
Didn't tighten up the balance belt.
Oh. It smells very lean.
Yeah.
It's like. Oh, is that for the water pump?
Yep, didn't tighten these up.
Whoops. But you would have.
I forgot about it. Trying to teach you how to do bolts on fucking belts.
Now, like 5 p.m. Jesus.
There we go.
You know, it's fine. Fucking looking crazy in the back.
Sounds like a Bridgeport.
Yeah, it sounds like a Bridgeport. God. That sound is so fucking awesome. I think this is my first time ever hearing it. Wow. That sounds like a Bridgeport.
Yeah. Fucking. Alrighty. So, another day. It's all fucking. Everything's wet. So, today, we're going to fit up the accelerator pedal and the dash and the CAN bus and the aircon and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it shouldn't take too long, hopefully. Then we can clean up the wiring, make it all work, and hopefully go for a drive and start tuning. So we'll get stuck into this and see how far we get. Alrighty, so we've just run the fuel pump wire through here. So I was going to trigger the fuel pump through the relay, but I decided now I want the Haltech to control the fuel pump, so then I can see the current draw and stuff like that. So we've got fuel pump relay here. So I know that this wire here is the one that supplies power, because that's what I was bridging on yesterday. So I just need to see where the other red and white wire goes, because it branches off twice. So I know one of them goes to the fuel pump resistor over here. I'm just not sure where the other one goes to. So I gotta look that shit up and see where the other red and white goes. So it's white with red stripe. So I can make sure that we're not gonna power something else that doesn't need to be powered. But yeah, not sure why there's two wires. So I'm gonna look that up now and see what needs to happen with that.
You're gonna watch me have a fucking hard time.
This connector is proving to be quite a pain in the fucking ass to de-pin. So I'm gonna go eat some breakfast while the sun de-pins this.
Well, thank you. This is gonna take me like half an hour to fucking do. Oh no.
How much easier is that?
doing something. Whoa.
What ChatGPT?
Mm.
Nice.
I hope it's actually right. Never really is.
One, two, three. Oh, I pulled one out that I wasn't supposed to. Yeah. No, I was going to go back in.
Oh, hell yeah.
Middle one.
How's this?
Can't look right now. Done. Alrighty, so it's been a couple of hours and finally figured out what's going on. It's fucking weird. Anyway, so we have this thing's fucking everywhere at the moment. We've managed to find a problem with one of the relays. So one of the relays over here, this one here was stuck down, so ignition power was on a lot of the times. So I've just cracked the top off and yeah, now it triggers. So I need to replace that relay. I tried to pull it out too, and it was stuck in there hard. So, so obviously I had a problem with the electrical system I didn't know about. Now, the black with white wire on this plug, I don't know how many pins there is there, but it's a smaller one on the body loom. Black with white is ignition power, and the green with yellow stripe, what was that triggering? Oh, that was triggering the engine, the fuses over in the fuse box. Sorry, the fuses, the relays. So that triggers the relays to turn on to provide power to everything else. So like the barometric pressure, the cooling fans, and all that kind of shit. So you need to have that triggered in order to use everything else. Now we're not using the barometric pressure, obviously, but we will be using the AC and all the other relays. So you're better off just triggering that. So I've got this set up on a digital pulsed output as a ground, so when the ECU is turned on, it's an engine relay control. So I've got one engine relay control to power the injectors and all the ignition coils, and then one to control those relays. So I'm still working out the rest of that shit. Now I did have to pull out these two 5-volt signals. They've got to go in with the drive-by-wire signal, which I think was these two. Yeah, they're tied together. And then I've got to add 2 grounds to that as well. And then I need to add 2 grounds into these ones here, which is the coolant level and pressure, because they don't need 5 volts, they need grounds. All the sensors need ground, not fucking 5 volt. So I'm going to add 4 grounds, 2 for here, 2 for here, and then we can get the drive-by-wire done. And the coolant level and AC switch, and then the brake and clutch and all that will be fine. And then the fans, thermo fans, the boys just worked out which pins they are. So I'm going to work on how to trigger them. The boy. And work out how to trigger them through here. Hopefully they're just a ground, pull down to ground trigger, which I believe they are, which means they will be nice and easy. So I've got to work out exactly how many wires I need, because I want to cut these plugs off. So these 2 original ones, those ones there, and put in a DT connector, and I need to work out how many wires I need. So I know exactly right now I need 6 for drive-by-wire, 1 for clutch, 1 for brake, oh actually might need 2, because I think that needs, oh that's already got power, that's power through the engine. Yeah, so I've got to work it out anyway, because I want to have a DT connector in there. so that if I need to take the engine loom out, I can. I don't have to worry about cutting this shit off and whatever. I can just unplug it and away you go. Same with everything that goes over to the fuse box. I want to be able to unplug it and take the loom out. So we will work on that now and figure out where we need to go. Alright, so things have escalated a little bit. So they're all the wires that we need to tap into the engine, into the body loom, plus can high and can low, which we haven't grabbed out of there yet. So there's going to be 19 wires in total. And I was thinking about doing connectors, and I'm like, yeah, that ain't going to work. So what I'm thinking is, we've got plenty of spare ports on here, that we take the wires out of that here, because the only ones that we need are reverse and neutral. That's it. And that's a big plug for no fucking reason. So I'm thinking we unravel that, leave a bit of a pigtail on it, and join all these up, crimp them on and heat shrink them down to these ones. And then these wires can connect into this with the pigtails, and the same deal. So that if we ever need to take the loom out of the car, we just unplug this, unplug the Haltech, and out it comes. The only way I can see is we're going to do it easily and cleanly, because yeah, that's a lot of wires to try and deal with, and if we ever want to take that loom out, it's just going to be too messy if they're all soldered together. The other one too is obviously like the fuel pump and the thermo fans that need to go this way. We might use a different method for that, because yeah, that fuel pump wire is a 10 gauge or a 12 gauge wire, and it's pretty thick, so it needs to be a single high current plug. Yeah, the fun. So we decided it. Original automatic harness connector, like you legit need 4 wires in it, reverse and neutral. That's it. Everything else is used for the automatic. So we put the pins back in, so wasted fucking time doing that. Taking them out and putting them back in. There's 18 free on here, and we need 18 for the body. So yeah, we're going to go through, cut all these off that we don't need, leave a bit of a pigtail on them, so we can solder all of them onto here, and then all of these onto here, so we have one connector we can undo, and it undoes fucking the whole loom essentially, except for the fuel pump. So we're going to get stuck into this and start soldering all these fucking wires.
Fun process.
Right, so we've sorted out what wires we need to grab. So it's just those 2 there and those 2 there, so reverse and neutral. Everything else is going to get cut, and then we can start soldering them all on. Battery is disconnected, obviously. There's no point leaving too much on there because it doesn't need to be that long. It's at that point you go, fuck, I hope I do the right fucking thing.
That's what I said. If it was right or not. Just making sure, so then spend like another 3 hours doing shit.
They're not doing anything anyway because it doesn't have an automatic gearbox, so
oh yeah, it's manual, so.
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking difference whatsoever.
Because that was for changing the gears automatically, right?
Yeah, that was for the automatic gearbox control.
Yeah.
Which we do not have anymore.
Because we sold that shit long time ago.
So there's no point worrying too much about it. I kind of wish I could just take this off. Maybe we can de-pin those, de-pin that and do it on a bit more comfortable area. Yeah, no, fuck it. Thank God for automatic wire strippers.
Makes life so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so we got a couple of fucking connectors. So the ones that I ordered that were wrong, so knock sensor, I got a couple of DT connectors, more of those same plugs. I bought a couple of these, the fucking DT connectors. Crank angle sensor plug, another DT, another crank angle sensor plug, aircon plug, another AC plug because I fucked up the other one. Yeah, so we can do that soon. And the OEM fucking plug apparently, but it looks different, so whatever. Later problem.
Blue's coming off.
Alright, so we're back. Everything's running. Figured out what's going on the alternator. Looks like I might have killed the old alternator by putting 12 volt into the regulator. So that's what we're running now. And that was the original 12 volt line, and we're just running the PWM into the port D, and it's charging. So we've got 14.3 roughly. Obviously the idle's not very stable at the moment, but yeah, so that's charging. So yeah, just going to clean up that wiring now and hook up the reverse and neutral, clean up that, hook up the boost control solenoid. Still got to hook up this as well, let's just plumb into that just to trigger it. And yeah, I think that'll be it. Alrighty, so we pretty much are done. We've got all, whoa, Jesus, exposure. So we had a storm come through yesterday, so last night was pretty much a write-off. It was a pretty decent storm. So we pretty much just went through this morning, started at 7 this morning. It's now Thursday, I think it's Thursday? I don't even know. So we pretty much got everything done anyway. So gearbox, reverse neutral, safety is wired up so the car won't start, or at least won't crank over when it's in gear, and reverse lights are working. Got the boost control solenoid terminated, knock sensors on. Yeah, we're pretty much good to go really, like everything else is tied in. I've tested the SSV and the VDI and they both open. Alternator is charging. Just needed a DP04 wire for one wire to just get it to go. I don't understand what the hell's going on there, but we'll see if it's reliable. So this is what we're working with now. So it looks pretty much exactly what it did before, obviously, except the filter is there now instead of a MAF. All the Haltech's inside the box. Got 2 battery wires that come out. I've got to put the battery cover back on, but yeah, I thought I'd leave it off for the moment. Yeah, everything's connected, everything's working. It starts and idles, just got to get some tuning done now. So we're about to go jump into the car. I've got to get under the car first and hook up the O2 sensors. A little bit long. I should have bought the shorter one. So there was 2 options. There was I think it was a 250 millimeter long lead, and there was a 750 or 1 meter long lead. And of course I got the long one thinking I'd need it, and I definitely do not. That thing is fucking huge. I think it's literally under the car. You can see it dangling there. So we'll either pull the excess up from under, because it's under the intake manifold, the same place as the factory one, and just bring the excess up into here and whatever, or I'll zip tie it up underneath onto the gearbox. So there is the factory O2 connector there, which is no longer there, so I might be able to use that to secure all the excess. Then we can go for a drive. But I do have to order a O2 block-off bung, or go to an exhaust shop and get one, because the O2 sensor, obviously you only need 1 on the Haltech, and the stock ECU needs 2. So 1 before the cat, 1 after, and we're using the 1 after the cat, and there is no cat, so yeah. Yeah, we just got to block that off, and then we'll be good. So we'll get that done now, and then we'll go for a drive and see how it behaves. Alright, so we are back again. I've got everything working. Been driving around for a few days now. Now, I've had an issue with the alternator. It seems that the alternator itself doesn't have a regulator in it. So it has a P and a D input. So P being an output rather than input, which communicates with the ECU to say how fast it's spinning and what voltage it's putting out and so on. So where the D input is a PWM to control the stator field, which controls how much voltage it fucking puts out and whatever. So what I'm doing, I've cut the plug off, because what I was doing, I was getting the test light, going to positive terminal, putting it into the alternator to get it to start charging, and then connecting the DPO back in, and that charges like all day. As soon as the alternator goes cold though, it stops charging. So I've made this. This is the DPO pin with a diode on it. So diode points down into the alternator to stop the current flowing back up the DPO pin. Then I have a 470 ohm resistor. If the camera will focus, which probably won't, on the 12 volt source. So this is a switched 12 volt. So the power is going to come in from the 12 volt through the resistor down into the alternator to essentially excite the stator. And then the DPO is going to have a diode to stop the power coming back up this wire into the Haltech, but still able to control it through PWM. So we're going to crimp this on, heat shrink it down, protect it, put some more sheathing over it so it looks good, connect it up and give it a try. Alright, so we're up and running, battery voltage is good. I had to remove the diode though. With the diode in there, it just wanted to fucking charge at 17.5 volts. But yeah, she's happy. It's not messing with the DPOs or the AVs or anything, so I guess we'll see what happens. I might send a ticket to Haltech just to make sure. But she's idling nicely. Alrighty, so it's been a couple of days since I got it running. I've been driving around a bit and tuning a bit. That will probably be a separate video. This one was all about getting the Haltech, getting it set up, doing the wiring, installing it in the car, getting it running. The tuning side is going to probably take a little bit to sort out. And I've, like I said, I've already got the car driving. A few little weird problems with timing, but yeah, overall it's pretty good. So we'll have a look what we've got going on. So I don't have the cover on at the moment, I've left it off. So all of the wiring just sneaks down past there, goes in under the manifold and then just branches out everywhere. So I do have that yellow cable going into the inside of the car in case something happens with the Wi-Fi. And I did notice on the Wi-Fi there is a bit of a latency. It's minor, but it's enough to go, you can see it and you can feel it. So I've got the cable there just to hook up when I'm in the car tuning. So everything works, electronic power steering works, aircon works. I had a bit of trouble with that. Turns out you have to hook into this green and black wire just here to trigger the aircon. So that's the aircon request switch, which is a 5 volt source. And then AC request, which goes back to the relay. AC trigger, which triggers the relay, which turns the AC on. Anyway, I did have some problems with the alternator charging, so I've only got one wire going into the alternator now. So that turned out to be, you need a digital pulsed output to regulate the charge because it doesn't have a regulator apparently. And I'm considering swapping to an FD alternator just to simplify it even more because that only needs light and sense. And yeah, I've got a 470 ohm resistor going to the D pin on the alternator as well as the DPO, and I'm worried that it might damage the Haltech doing it that way. So yeah, I'll probably just get another alternator soon. But yeah, everything's working really good. I did also, so underneath the Haltech, I've got the the ECU tray, and underneath the ECU tray I have a bit of heat shielding, so that's that silver shit. So what I noticed was when I was driving around in traffic, the heat from the EPS was coming up through the Haltech, and the Haltech was getting to like 80 degrees, and there was no need for that temperature. So I put this in and the heat shield, and now maximum temperature I've seen is 50. So heats better. Yeah, that's pretty much it really. It's all going well, so time to move on to tuning and seeing what we can do there. It's I just realised I didn't plug the fucking EVAP fucking plug back in. Might want to plug that in. And yeah, I was in here last night, so gotta plug all these back into SSV, VDI. That's why you don't do things in a rush. You always forget to plug things back in. Lucky I didn't drive it yesterday. yeah, cool. All right, so yeah, so we'll leave it at that for this video. Yeah, we'll move on to tuning now. That's going to take a couple of days to sort out. It's a lot easier than VersaTuner, I'll tell you that right now. Not as easy as the Adaptronic, I don't think. Mainly because the Adaptronic actually had RX-8 support, so it was mostly done for us. Haltech, there is not a lot of RX-8 support right now. It's coming, I know that. Yeah, you kind of just make do with what you got. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Can't wait.